Working in an elementary school, I get to see what children learn every day. In a survey I did with the children I work with, I asked 3rd through 5th graders how they felt about cursive writing. 2 of them said it was hard, but they really liked how their handwriting looked after they learned it all. One said they just had to do it, it was a requirement, and they usually only do it for their name, but they mostly print. One said he would much rather just type his name and type all of his work. The school I work with is just a few in Maryland that still have cursive as a requirement to be taught to students. 45 states and District of Columbia have moved to the Common Core curriculum. This curriculum gives schools the option of enforcing cursive to be in schools or not. The principal has options, and they can either require it or not. Cursive writing doesn't just make handwriting better, it keeps the brain working and proper writing skills alive. Growing up, I personally hated cursive. I had terrible handwriting, and I struggled a lot with trying to keep mine neat. But after I learned cursive in 3rd grade, I realized at the end that my handwriting improved immensely. According to a CNN article by Matthew Casey, a study was done and 33% of the people said they had difficulty reading their own handwriting. This was a study taken by people who had never received proper handwriting skills. And more than half of those same participants said their handwriting was declining. If you walk into any school, kindergarten through 5th grade, and take 5 papers, 1 from each grade, and compare the handwriting, do you notice a huge improvement in handwriting starting in 3rd grade? As you can see from my example, I have handwriting from a kindergartner, a 1st grader, a 2nd grader, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As you look in kindergarten, the handwriting is pretty bad because they're just learning how to do it. In 1st grade, they're starting to learn the skills. And then 2nd grade, towards the end, they have learned cursive, but in the beginning, they haven't. And in 3rd grade, this particular 3rd grader hasn't started learning it yet. It's the beginning of the school year, so they haven't been able to learn. This 4th grader has their cursive handwriting. They have struggled a little bit at the R's, but they are doing really well, and their handwriting improved. And then this 5th grade boy actually has really good handwriting, cursive handwriting, and his print handwriting is really good. So Wendy Carlson, a handwriting expert and forensic document examiner, claims the dramatic decline of handwriting is causing great deterioration of the mind. In a world that thrives on technology, it is now being pushed into schools, with computers and now tablets being given to every student in the school, and just classes on typing too. Schools all over the nation are trying to replace cursive with the opportunity for children to use technology. Children love to text and to type, and schools want to take advantage of this. Yes, typing does make things neater and a lot easier to read, and it makes it quicker also, but children aren't using their brains. Wendy Carlson says, people aren't using their minds and are relying on technology to make decisions for them. Technology uses quick movements from the fingers. This requires little thinking for people because they are not allowing their brain to form neural processes. The more technology we use to communicate, the more our brain will slowly decline. So when you're texting or you're typing, all you're doing is just hitting buttons. And when you're cursive, when you write in print or cursive, you have to think about how each space goes and how every line forms and how everything works. And that makes your brain think about everything it's doing. Cursive exercises the brain, and which keeps the brain working and up to date. Jane Olson, from the same CNN article, founder and president of Handwriting Without Tears, says young students view cursive as old-fashioned. This may be true, but that also brings a great example. In the early 1900s, and even before then, if you look at letters or documents between people, you can see a difference from those that were educated and those that weren't. People that had handwriting that was perfect, you could tell they were educated. Like, in letters, you'll see how everything's spaced. It has like a slant, and everything's the same, and it looks great. When you look at letters between people during that time, you could tell who's educated or not. The neater the cursive, the more educated they appeared. Cursive not only makes handwriting better, but it shows knowledge and intelligence. If you were able to write back then in cursive, you were able to succeed. Smith, a former civil servant, says, "It's a shame that now when you write quickly, it looks like it's by someone who has not even had an education." Today, education is being simplified every day by new ideas or themes. It is proven, though, that cursive helps a great deal to education. Schools are meant for teaching, and cursive is an element that ought to be taught. So let's make that move to keep cursive alive in teaching students in elementary schools. One way we can do that is go to the Board of Education and explain to them and show them the effects of not having cursive in students' lives. And also start a petition at schools to try and get parents and even children to sign these petitions to get cursive to stay in their schools. Also make it a point to talk to community members and